My name is Jack Connery, Commander, U.S. Navy. And, then I got my Washington duty. Everybody's supposed to have duty in Washington. And I didn't find out till a few years later that you got to have duty in the right place in Washington. Well, I didn't. I was in a command, and I'm not going to mention this command because I worked with a dozen other people that had been passed over for commander. I had made commander on board Topeka, where I'd made lieutenant commander, and I worked with a number of people who had been who were lieutenant commanders that had been passed over for commander. And I said, this is the wrong place for me. I got to get out of here. And I volunteered for Vietnam. I volunteered, you send me wherever you want to go. And fortunately, I came out of there with an XO billet on the Pawcatuck. And that's when I worked. I had two COs there, worked for two COs. The first one was a Jewel. The second one was I didn't think very much of him. And they were both pilots. And they both got that's where they got their deep draft command experience to go to a carrier. So the first one went on to make admiral a few years later. But I brought the ship, I was the XO and navigator, and we brought the ship back from a med, finished a med deployment. Had a second med deployment. The oiler, that's a crew of roughnecks. That's a crew of sailors that are really good people. We set refueling records with carriers that, as far as having 4 hoses over and pumping in the least amount of time. With the Independence, we always loved to refuel the Independence. They were good and we were good. But you train these guys, and they all have a job to do. They know how to do it, and they know when to do it, and they do it. The record we set with the Independence is, first of all, come the high lines, or not the high lines, the shot lines. And it's that, you pull a bigger line, and the bigger line has a hose on it. From the time the first shot line arrived, and that would be with one hose, we were pumping oil in 3 minutes. Black oil through 4 hoses. Well, we'd refuel down to about 70, maybe down to 60% of our capacity. And then it was just the regulations, just a readiness thing that you would go back to and fill up. And I can't tell you what the captain, we would 40,000 gallons to a destroyer wasn't unusual. Now, to a carrier, I can't remember. I'd hate to say a figure now. But with the carrier in the early days, we'd do black oil, JP5, and avgas. And of course, then the prop planes went out, so I got it down to 2 fuels. And I think, well, now I still think it's 2. It would be 2 fuels, but they're both, black oil is kind of out. They use it, it's kind of like kerosene that these new destroyers use. But we would have a major fleet replenishment about every 2 to 3 weeks. And that would be, you know, we'd be there with we'd join up with a carrier and 4 destroyers. And at the same time, you might have a supply ship join you that would give them groceries. If we'd been in a shooting exercise, it'd be a missile ship back there with bullets. And that was a fun day. That was an all-day thing of driving your ship around, staying out of this one's way and getting in that one's way. And then I went to Norfolk